This is Christmas dinner in Japan, for a lot of people anyway. Since the early 1970s, when KFC opened in Japan, the manager, Takeshi Okawara, overheard some international customers talking about how they miss turkey at Christmas. His idea was to then portray KFC as an alternative and offer party barrels for Christmas. This quickly became popular, and in 1974, a nationwide marketing campaign calling it Kentucky for Christmas was launched. Today, Christmas KFC is a long-standing, multi-generation tradition for many families in Japan. Pre-orders are needed, often including cakes and specific branded plates. If you are in Japan this Christmas, you may be able to witness this very unique Christmas tradition for many families around Japan. Make these crispy oven-baked wings this Christmas. I'm using the J. Kenji Lopez method of adding baking powder before baking to try to mimic the effect of frying. We went with using Tandoori masala, but you can add any spice mix you want or leave them plain and coat them in a sauce of your choice. This is my favourite way to make chicken wings at home, and either way that you make them, they will come out super crispy and incredibly delicious. Turn mince pies into ice cream this Christmas. Mince pies date back to medieval Britain, and unsurprisingly were originally made from actual meat, hence the name, and was long seen as a Christmas pie, served as a status symbol for the wealthy, including Henry VIII, who would request them at his feasts. Moving into the Victorian era, the meat aspect started to be removed, but the name stayed. Even though they were inadvertently banned briefly due to Oliver Cromwell's crackdown on Christmas, they have remained one of the most Christmassy aspects in Britain at this time of year. They can be seen as hit and miss, and a lot of people probably wouldn't mind them being banned still, but if you are a mince pie fan, this is an incredibly delicious way to eat them. The alcohol in the mix also helps the ice cream become more scoopable, which suits home ice cream very well. A full and more detailed method will be in the description. Follow for more Christmas recipes coming soon. This is the perfect starter for Christmas dinner. In the UK, it's very popular to have a prawn cocktail before Christmas dinner, but for the last few years, I've made this cheesy, rich French onion soup. For me, the best type of soup you can make. Caramelising the onions will take between 1 to 2 hours, and you don't really want to take any shortcuts here, as this is the best way to do it. After that, the flavour that has been built up makes it all worth it for me, and it can be made in advance. Adding herbs, sherry, and lots of Worcestershire sauce, finishing with toasted bread and Gruyere, it is a delicious way to start your Christmas dinner. Make this super cheesy, delicious, festive sandwich with your leftover cranberry sauce instead of a supermarket meal deal. Almost every supermarket and fast food chain launches its festive menu around this time of year, and in the UK we absolutely love a meal deal. Since Boots first introduced the offer in 1999, its popularity has only grown. In 2024, the UK spent £6.2 billion on meal deals. There is nothing wrong in grabbing a meal deal. The appeal is obvious, it's quick, good value, and saves you a hassle of cooking, especially while you're working. But if you are at home, making your own Christmas sandwich is a brilliant way to use up leftovers. Brie and cranberry sauce are an instant festive hit, and you can add anything else you fancy. We went for some Parma ham in between, which made for an unbelievably delicious sandwich. This is the perfect Christmas party food to make this year. Britain loves the sausage roll. Greggs sells over 100 million a year, and they're basically seen as a national treasure. So this recipe is ideal for any Christmas party you are hosting or going to. You can make a regular sausage roll, but for me adding the black pudding improves the flavour drastically, and this is now my go-to way to make a sausage roll. A good trick to use is utilising some good quality sausages at this time of year. They're often cheaper than buying the same weight in sausage meat, and this helps adding more complex flavours without adding the extra steps. Similar is buying puff pastry and then just using 1 egg yolk to give it a good golden finish. Follow for more Christmas party recipes coming soon. Try these delicious creamy potatoes this Christmas. Dauphinoise comes from the Dauphine region in the French Alps and is for me the best way to eat a potato, even better than roasts. The dish was first recorded in 1788 at a banquet 1 year before the French Revolution, initially using milk and thinly sliced potatoes. Although potatoes had been in France for centuries, they weren't yet widely grown or commonly eaten outside of certain regions. Over time, cooks added cream, garlic and cheese, creating a rich, indulgent version we know today. We are deviating away from a traditional recipe. Leaving out the cheese is still incredible, but I think it helps form a nice golden crust. We use rosemary from our garden, but thyme would also be a great option. Either way, however you make it, this will become an instant Christmas favourite. Make beer cauliflower cheese this Christmas. Cauliflower isn't the most traditional, but it absolutely can be delicious. Instead of a plain bechamel, we're making a Welsh Rarebit inspired sauce. If you're worried about the taste of alcohol, don't worry, because it will cook out in the pan. You could also add some English mustard if you like. The Worcestershire sauce, dark ale and mature cheddar gives the sauce a depth of flavour. The key step is to roast your cauliflower. It gets sweeter, richer and elevates the whole dish. When the sauce is done and the cauliflower roasted, combine them in an oven-proof dish. Top with some extra cheese if you'd like. Put it back under the grill for a few minutes just to get some colour on the top. This will leave you with a delicious, rich and incredibly cheesy easy Christmas side. If you don't normally have cauliflower at Christmas, this is a perfect way to try it for the first time. You're likely to have a lot of leftover if you use a whole cauliflower, and it freezes very well. Did you know that if you hate sprouts, it may be genetic? Sprouts are the most divisive part of a Christmas dinner, with nearly half of people being indifferent or outwardly disliking them. In 1931, a scientist called Arthur Fox found that some people could taste a bitter chemical called PTC, and some cannot. The University of Derby looked into this find to link it to sprouts. They do not have PTC, but they do have the chemical glucosinolates, which contains the same chemical arrangement of nitrogen, sulfur and carbon as PTC. So if your genes have a bitter taste of PTC, you are significantly more likely to hate sprouts. Despite this, they are incredibly nutrient dense, but hating them might not be your fault. This recipe can be a great way to try them again, frying them in rendered bacon fat with chestnuts, topping them with toasted breadcrumbs and a sprinkling of Parmesan, being a delicious way to eat what is a Christmas essential. Make this Cambert Dip this Christmas. It is perfect for sharing and very simple. Adding in some fresh herbs, sliced garlic, finishing with some caramelised red onions, and your choice of honey or hot honey. It is fantastic to dip in some crackers or some sliced toasted bread. It's one of the easiest party foods you can make this year, and for the amount of effort it takes, it looks very impressive. You could also add some cranberry sauce to make it even more festive. Did you know alcohol created one of the most successful chocolate companies in the world? In 1824, John Cadbury created a standard grocery shop in Birmingham, which sold drinking chocolate made from a pestle and mortar, beginning the worldwide household name of Cadbury's. So how does alcohol come into this? John was completely teetotal due to his temperance Quaker beliefs. He wanted to promote this drink as a wholesome alternative to alcohol. Later on, his sons took over, and George Cadbury started using the Dutch process for cocoa, leading to the production of chocolate bars and the creation of the Bournville village, which housed workers and their families, which, despite the company now being sold, still exists today, where their sober approach still exists, not allowing any pubs within the village. I grew up around Bournville and can say for certainty that the history of Cadbury is still alive. The buildings have been preserved incredibly well, and almost everyone there will have some connection to the company, even without the pubs. Which is why alcohol inadvertently created Britain's favourite chocolate company.